We're going to start this evening with our incumbent legislative candidates, Representative Michelle Fresnel and Representative Joe Queen. Each will have 3 minutes up here at the podium to talk about their platform and what they would like to do if elected. Neither of them have a primary opposition, but because their opponents here will be discussing issues tonight, it's only fair that they get time to discuss as well. There are other races in the March 15th primary that are not on the primary ballot. So we're saving those races for when we have the general election for them. So again, welcome. If you haven't registered to vote yet, you have until Friday, February 19th. And the primary election is March 15th. And you can do early voting between March 3rd and March 12th. So there's plenty of ways and plenty of opportunities to vote. So that's what we're all helping you do. And we want to start the forum with Michelle Fresnel.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. I'm Representative Michelle Fresnel. I represent Haywood, Madison, and Yancey County. Seems like education is a pretty big issue, so let's talk about this study to close Central Elementary School. This is Haywood County's school board decision. Schools are funded based on enrollment called ADM. The Haywood County School Board knows ADM in Haywood schools has dropped by more than 600 students since 2008. Despite the fact that funding is tied to enrollment, the county has received more state money to fund education every year since I took office. Haywood received over $39 million the first year I was in office in 2013. As of September, they were receiving over $40 million. That was last September 2015. An increase, not a cut. Over the same time period, they lost 289 students. Simply put, Haywood County has been receiving more state money for education every year to educate fewer students. All of that I got from Fiscal Research in Raleigh. For 8 long years, enrollment has fallen every year, yet the school board has done nothing to improve the situation. They also want to blame the charter schools. Charter schools receive very much less support. They don't receive local bond funds. They don't receive state money for buildings or lottery money. Central Elementary only lost 18 students to the new charter school. That's something, a point that you need to be thinking of. Another thing that I found is 45% of what was budgeted for the teachers went to administration in 2013 and 14. I got that from the Haywood County School document. Moving forward, I would like to see raises for teachers in the short session. Although the House budget gave across-the-board raises last year, in Raleigh, it's really all about compromise. We ended up giving $750 to each state employee at a cost of $202.3 million for the state. My concern is for all state employees as well. Employees with the Department of Transportation, Department of Correction, Highway Patrol, who put their lives on the line every day when they put their shoes on first thing in the morning. I am pro-life. I am a lifetime member of the NRA. I have my concealed carry. I would love to see constitutional carry in North Carolina. Right now, we don't have that. I appreciate you having me here tonight, and thank you very much.
Thank you. I am Joe Queen. I represent Haywood, Jackson, and Swain counties in the North Carolina General Assembly. And it's my pleasure to be here speaking to the primary forum, although I won't be on the ballot on March 15th. I will be in November. But one of the things that every Democrat, every Republican, every independent needs to know this is a very important election, March 15th, because what will be on the ballot will be the North Carolina bond issue. The North Carolina bond issue, North Carolina Connect, was the most important bipartisan initiative that we passed in the General Assembly this session. It's not the governor's bond. It's not the General Assembly's bond. It's the people's bond issue. It's a $2 billion investment in North Carolina. If the people want to invest, they have to vote for it on March 15th. It's 2/3 of it is for education, for our community colleges and our universities. $2.5 million go to Haywood Community College. Over $100 million goes to Western Carolina University. It invests in water and sewer projects all over the state. It invests in our state parks, in our National Guard facilities, in our infrastructure for agricultural research. It is a very important jobs bill. It creates 40,000 jobs. This General Assembly and Governor haven't had a jobs bill yet. If we want a jobs bill in North Carolina, we'll have to vote for it on March 15th. 40,000 jobs that will help North Carolina's infrastructure and keep our state moving forward. So please go vote for one of these fine candidates of your choice, but vote for the bond. It's good for the future of North Carolina. While I'm here, I'm going to say one other thing. I'd be amiss if I didn't. That is, remember in November. You've heard our governors, our General Assembly speak of the North Carolina comeback. The median family income in North Carolina has fallen $4,000 since McCory became governor. The job participation rate in North Carolina is the lowest it's been in over a generation. Poverty is on the rise all across North Carolina. North Carolina used to lead the South in education opportunities, but we're now the last in the South. We were in the middle of the nation. Now we're 47. So North Carolina needs your help in November. Remember in November, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you there. Vote for the bond and move North Carolina forward. Thank you.
We'll start from left to right and let the candidates introduce themselves in their 1-minute opening statement. We'll start with Rhonda Sandoval.
My name is Rhonda Sandoval. Thank you all for being here tonight. I am Rhonda Sandoval, and after tonight you will know that I am the candidate to beat Michelle Prince Snell. I'm a school board member that was born and raised in Canton, just like my parents. Daddy worked in the mill, and Mama worked at a small business. They did their best to make sure that my brother and I had what we needed. After graduating from App, Robbie went on to serve in the Special Forces, and I became a dental hygienist. I married my high school sweetheart, and we had our beautiful son, Kanye. Now, as many of you know, Kanye is very special. When I was 36, David passed away. At such a young age, not only was I a widow, but the single mother of a severely disabled son. These experiences have been challenging, but with amazing support systems, my family has thrived. I want these same supports for all North Carolinians. We need strong traditional public education because watching my son have the same opportunities as others is what has changed his life. We need to expand Medicaid because one's health should not be determined by their bank account, and a strong economy means participation by everyone because success isn't just for the wealthy and well-connected. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for coming out tonight, and thank you, Ms. Hyatt and your staff, for your hard work. My name is Reese Steen. I'm a former county commissioner in Madison, and I have a resume that we'll be passing around. If I had to pick one theme that for why I want to go to Raleigh is to expand the middle class. I want to help our citizens by creating opportunities to help themselves. to learn skills for better paying jobs, and for businesses, a chance to have a better workforce that will create more jobs in North Carolina. Families in North Carolina will have more money in their pockets, and that is about as good an anti-poverty program as you can get.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Clampett from Swain County. I appreciate your turnout tonight and appreciate the Mountaineer taking and hosting this wonderful event. I am a candidate for North Carolina House, and this is my third term to go against Mr. Queen, hopefully. Mr. Littlefield and I have run against one another before in 14, and hopefully I will be the candidate again to run against Mr. Queen. I served in Raleigh as a sergeant-at-arms in the 13-14, and I'm real familiar with the operations of the House. My background has been in public service. I was a firefighter and a fire captain in the Charlotte Fire Department for 30 years, 28 to be exact, 31 in the fire service. I also was a director of fire and rescue at Central Piedmont Community College. I'm very familiar with how education is important in our community to take and educate and have continuing education for adult learners as well as students graduating from high school. We have several issues facing Western North Carolina, and I think one of the greatest issues we have is wilderness designation. And that by that, we have a lack of state control.
Good evening. My name is Aaron Littlefield, and I'm a Republican candidate running for the North Carolina House. I was born in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains and raised in rural North Carolina. My father passed away when I was 6 years old, and I know firsthand how it takes hardworking families as well as programs in the community to take someone who should have been a statistic and turn them into a successful contributing member to society. I'm a graduate of Western Carolina University, where my wife and I live nearby, and I work full-time in the Jackson County school systems. I have the unique pleasure of working in all schools, seeing all classrooms from many different subjects. And let me tell you, until you picked up glue and crayons from kindergartners and first graders, you don't know what it is teachers go through on a daily basis. I think education is one of the best ladders we have for pulling people out of poverty and for putting them on the right track. My wife and I both graduated from the early college system here in North Carolina, and we think school choice, as well as protecting the quality that we have with securing educators here in the state, is the best way that we can move North Carolina forward. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll let Mr. Steen take the first question of this round. What factors influenced your decision to run, and what key individuals or groups did you consult with in making your decision?
The factor that was most prominent in my decision to run was the fact that my family agreed that I could run. Asking my wife and my children was very important. But I looked at the educational system and what was going on in Raleigh, and I said we need to put a stop to this and put North Carolina back into investing in our communities. In 1986, I ran for commissioner in Madison County. At that time, Madison County was 141 out of 141 counties in what they gave our kids local. Now, we do not have everything we need in Madison, but if you ask educators in Madison County if we come a long way, they will say we have. And I'm proud of my record on that. And I want to go to Raleigh and do the very same thing for the state of North Carolina. I want to invest in our communities and in education.
Mr. Clement.
Well, the person that influenced me into running has passed away. A good friend, mentor, and family member of my uncle passed away last August, and he had been an instrument in my life as a father figure in my growing up, because I grew up without a dad with a single mom. And he got me interested in the politics, and I saw what was happening in Swain County. And Swain County, as you know, is one of the few counties in the state is superimposed by federal land ownership. And by that I mean Swain County is 90% owned by the federal government. So therefore the tax base and the land area available for development and resources for people to have jobs at is very limited. And recognizing that fact and having been there, and I had to leave there in the 70s to get a job down east, which I retired and moved back home, I recognize that coming back home will be important to get a job where our young people graduate high school and not leaving, and hopefully graduating from Western like Mr. Littlefield did.
Thank you. Mr. Littlefield?
Thank you. The primary reason that I ran was because I see a problem in Raleigh, and I don't think it's unique to Republicans or Democrats. My campaign theme has been to make Raleigh listen. I feel that there's been a climate that pays attention more to lobbyists on Jones Street than it does to the needs of the people west of Asheville. And a lot of times it seems like Raleigh seems to forget that life goes on past Asheville. When I was a student at Western Carolina University, we had an awesome program called the Teachers Fellows. And it allowed students that trained to be educators here in North Carolina to work here in North Carolina to pay off their student debt, as well as serving the people of this state. That expired, as well as a host of other programs that help benefit education, that help benefit me in my educational career. And I ran to bring a common sense voice for both fiscal conservatism, as well as advocating for the right kinds of investments, such as education. And I think that's the conservative solution, is by making strong investments. Thank you.
Excuse me, I have a cough drop in because I did the pole plunge Saturday and I have to the reason I'm running, quite frankly, is because we have had bad leadership in Raleigh for our district, and we need better leadership in Raleigh. That's the reason I'm running. The people who influence me, I have to say first, is my Lord and Savior and my family. Individuals started coming to me back in the spring of last year asking if I would run. And I said no. And then I had different organizations start calling me asking if I would run. And there's a funny story that goes behind that. They didn't leave messages on my cell phone, they left messages on my home phone. And my husband heard the message. And so he said, have you called them back? And I said, no, I'm not going to run. And he said, well, first of all, Rhonda, that's just rude. And second of all, why aren't you going to run? So after we talked about it, and after we made the decision, and I announced in September, people have gotten behind me, and we're going to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clamp, we'll start with round of questioning. And in your view, what are the top 3 issues facing Western North Carolina?
Well, there's actually more than that. We'll just capitalize on the top 3. Well, number 1 is always spoken as jobs and economics. Transportation is second, and education is third, and they're all tied for the first place position. Without good transportation to be able to get products and services and goods from one location to another, you can't have good jobs and good enterprise. Without good education, you can't get the jobs and the enterprises to come and locate here. And we can have non-smokestack enterprises located in Western North Carolina. We have the venues, the land available, the center to do that. And I'll use examples like Microsoft support for their Windows and their computer programs. Also, as far as the roads go, the better roads allow students to get to their educational locations quicker and easier. And roads is a top priority, like I say, for North Carolina. When I hear Connect North Carolina, I think of the roads.
Thank you. I think the 3 most important issues facing us would be jobs, taxes, and access to affordable health care. First and foremost, if we expect people to stay in Western North Carolina, we need to make sure that we have the opportunities available for them to make them want to stay. One way we can grow those jobs and opportunities is by reforming the tax code further in North Carolina. I believe as a state and as a conservative, we need to be competitive with our local neighbors. That goes for education, that goes for taxes, both income tax, sales tax, gas tax. It all rolls together. I believe the biggest creator of jobs would be the consumer. The government can't spend a single dollar that it doesn't first take from the pockets of people in Haywood County and sends it to Raleigh for them to decide how it's spent. I think with a lower tax base, consumers here in Haywood County will have more dollars, and you will decide which businesses get that. You will decide which services get that, and from that we can grow local jobs. And as far as affordable health care, I think one way that we can increase access to that is allow people to purchase insurance across state lines. I see no reason why we have to pay 3 times as much for a policy that you can get cheaper just over the county line in South Carolina or in Tennessee. Thank you.
The top 3 things that I feel like are the most important is, of course, first of all, education. We are spending $588 less per student than we did in 2008. We are spending 20% less of our state budget, total state budget, than we did at the turn of the century. We are 42nd in the nation with teacher pay. We have got to fix our educational system. And then infrastructure. We've all driven down roads that are dotted with potholes that mess our cars up. We've got to fix our infrastructure. And then last but not least, we have to expand Medicaid. We are leaving over 500,000 people out in the state of North Carolina. Thank you.
First, I would say that jobs and economic development are critical in the state of North Carolina. Second, I would say support of public education. Now, I don't say support of education second. It's not a priority. I say that support of public education is not only a goal, it is a solution to job growth and economic development. Third, I would say let's invest in our communities. Let's invest in health care. Medicaid expansion should be a thing that happens in North Carolina. Infrastructure, our roads, our bridges, water and sewer, we have lots of those needs. And again, I would encourage you to vote yes on NC Connect for the $2 billion that will help us do this and help the infrastructure. Thirdly, I would say invest in technology. We live in the most beautiful place on earth. Why can't we create those resources to attract startup businesses that need this technology?
Thank you. Our next question, Mr. Littlefield, is to start.
Thank you.
And it's an education question. Education has been a hot topic in Haywood since early January. If elected, would you strive to change the education policies now in place in North Carolina?
That's a great question. First and foremost, I want to recognize that this is a bipartisan issue. We are currently just now back to where we were before the recession hit. And I want to be very clear here, I don't think recession-level spending should be any standard of success. And quite frankly, I'm agitated that we don't strive to be more competitive with Republican neighbors. We've got states like Georgia and Tennessee and Texas and Kentucky that are coming and offering to take teachers and relocate them to give them salaries in excess of $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. If we're going to make education a priority, it means we must be able to compete. And that doesn't mean we have to give up on fiscal conservatism. We need to set the right priorities, and we need to make sure that we have the best educators so that we can have bright students willing to create jobs here once they graduate. Thank you.
We do need to fix the educational policies that have attacked the traditional public school system in North Carolina. First and foremost, let me say that I have nothing against the teachers, the students in our charter schools. They are lovely people. But they're not having to play by the same rules that we are in the traditional public schools. They do not have to provide transportation. They do not have to provide lunch. Every one of our schools in Haywood County provides free and reduced lunches. That makes me sad because that says a lot about our economy, which that we need to work on too. But yes, I would change the policies that have been mandated in Raleigh that have affected tremendously, in a bad way, our public school system. Thank you.
I would say a very short statement, and that would be we have got to make public education work in North Carolina, where it be the high schools, community colleges. That is so important that we do that to achieve all the other goals of job creation and everything. But let me add this. I am also the son of a mill worker, and my dad was not one of the shiny shoe guys. And I'm very proud of where I am today, but I didn't do it by myself. I did it with the help of my teachers. The teachers in my life have been the inspiration behind any success that I can claim. And I would like to pass that along to every other kid that has needs and does not have money, to make sure that our public education system is first class and that we attract teachers that can help those kids along the way.
The state budget is 57% for education. The 57% for education is higher than it was under the Beverly Perdue administration. The General Assembly, in the years since it's been Republican-led, has increased the funding to education across the board constantly. I recommend, though, and would suggest that we do away with the state income tax and to be able to put more money in the people's pocket, thereby allowing to have teachers more money as well as the people in the community, people in Haywood County, Swain, Jackson, etc. Along with that, the state education lottery has a very high overhead. The overhead goes for administrative costs. We're looking at a good 40% or more. You see the ads on TV that say North Carolina State Education Lottery. Well, when it was passed at the 11th hour, that was the idea, but it's grown far from that. So I would suggest and would move in the legislature to move more money into education from the State Education Lottery of what it says.
Thank you. Our next question, Ms. Chandler will start. And the question is, while neighboring Buncombe County seems to have recovered from the Great Recession, rural areas are lagging behind. What, if anything, can the state do to help struggling economies?
That's a great question, Vicki. And I truly believe that it starts again with education, and particularly with our vocational departments. Everyone was not meant to go to a four-year school. We have got to grow these vocational departments and grow our middle class, because when our middle class grows, we all prosper from that. And I think that is one great way that we can ensure that our economy grows.
Education is definitely a priority, but one of my mentors, a guy named Liston Ramsey, did a lot for this region. And one way Liston did a lot for Western North Carolina is he sent money back on a per capita basis, not on a origination basis with the sales tax. And I would work to see that in western counties that we try to capture more money from our sales tax. We have made some gains, but we need to make more gains, because this money can be used for education, infrastructure, money talks, and let's change some of the policies and make it better that Western North Carolina, especially the rural counties, get more of that tax money.
Having been at the legislature and listening to some of the debate on the floor, one of the things I felt very most important was that in order to stimulate the economy for the rural areas like Western North Carolina, that we don't have a lot of large businesses and a lot of employers with great numbers of people within the school system and state employees, etc., was to take and reduce the government restrictions on construction and building. In order to be able to have less government influence and to promote businesses, they've got to have a streamlined process by where they can come in and put a building up and employ those people. And the legislature has done a good job with that, and I'd like to continue that for Swain, Jackson, and Haywood counties. The EPA is a real good example. And DENR, in North Carolina, if you know what I'm talking about, Department of Environmental and Natural Resources, some of the restrictions about building close within 200 feet of a floodplain is absolutely nuts. And that's only because it's a wet weather spring.
This question goes right in line with my campaign theme of Make Raleigh Listen. And it goes right in line with saying that they don't believe life really exists past Asheville. I believe only 4 out of the 100 counties in North Carolina have experienced the Carolina comeback. Unfortunately, 96% of the counties, 96 counties, are only just now where they were or are worse off than when the recession hit. So first and foremost, I think if, as others have said, we look towards the redistribution of sales tax, Jackson County was excluded from the negotiations. I believe only 80 or some odd counties get sales tax revenue. Jackson County is not one of them. And I know when I go into Fairview Elementary and I have to walk around soggy ceiling tiles that have fallen on the floor because our ceiling is collapsing, I know that there's priorities that are misplaced. And so I think if we focus again on education spending, we've got to realize that Western Carolina University contributes over $2 billion to the local economy. We've got to realize Jackson County Schools hires more employees than most other organizations. So I think focusing on education and the sales tax redistribution would be a huge help. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start with Mr. Steen, the next one. And this is pretty much a yes or no question, but you can expound. Would you support a nonpartisan redistricting system in North Carolina, given the recent court decisions that control our upcoming elections in December?
And the answer is yes. I would support any decision that would make sense out of our districts. I think we've seen these districts. I have a friend in Rockingham, North Carolina. He has 6 counties, and it looks like some painter's just taking a brush and like that. But he has to visit 6 counties to get his constituency pleased. And we need to make more sense. These plans need to make sense. We need to put people of common needs together.
Yes, a common sense approach to redistricting would be a good idea. It would take a bill introduced in the legislature, and it would take a group in the legislature to spearhead and move that forward to do that. Something that would make sense based on the population is great, but the problem comes in on the 10-year redistricting based on population. And as people being elected to the House of Representatives, tell me how, and it would be up to the committee, how you would base it on the population without possibly having some of the corkscrew districts. But I agree, I would like to see something streamlined where we don't have to have half districts like we do with Haywood County being split by 118 and 119.
As it stands, the 3 or 4 major cities in North Carolina control about 10 to 20% of the representation in the House of Representatives. I think that's unreasonable, and I think that goes along with the state Senate as well. Currently, the North Carolina State Constitution says that no Senate district shall cut in any part a county. We've been doing unconstitutional districting for years. Now, part of that is because we need to reconcile it with the one person, one vote. So this would have to deal with both the courts and the legislature in order to get this through. But I would very much be in favor of nonpartisan drawing of districts. I would also be in favor of potentially changing the way representation is done with the state Senate. I think a great idea would be to give every state senator 2 counties. And that would give the 11 westernmost counties much more representation than just 1 state senator. And that would allow more choices being made to affect the voices of all of North Carolina, not just Charlotte, Greensboro, and Raleigh. Thank you.
I won't need to be timed on this. Absolutely, I would be in favor of a nonpartisan redistricting. Thank you.
The next question, Mr. Clamper will start. What is your position on expanding Medicaid eligibility in North Carolina?
Well, health care is a great concern to all of us, and especially me at the age I'm reaching now. Never thought about that when I was 25.
Medicaid, I'm sorry, Medicaid.
Yes, well, anyhow, point being is still, I never thought about that at 25. Now, since I'm reaching that going into the 60 group, I am thinking about it more. One thing is I think the Obamacare program is lackluster, and it puts a burden on the states. And by taking and revamping and doing away with the Obamacare, it would free up the states to be able to have, as Mr. Littlefield said earlier, insurance costs drop across state lines. Currently, we cannot buy insurance across state lines, and that's through the Department of Insurance and some of the decisions they make there. And by having those costs alleviated and dropped down by across the state lines, car insurance, health insurance, etc., would be reduced. So that would allow for more monies to be spent and to be encompassing more folks to be covered by the insurance.
Thank you. I think I would be hesitant to expand Medicaid in North Carolina. Primary reason being, if you look at other states where they've expanded Medicaid, as years go by, the share that North Carolina would have to pick up, would necessarily mean either raising taxes or taking money away from other much-needed expenses like education. If you look at other states where even Republicans have accepted it, they're having to deal with this. I think Florida was one. I think Ohio is another. And as we've seen it work in other states, I don't think it would be the better deal. I can say this, for my wife and I, we're young people. If we wanted to buy an insurance plan through the exchanges, it would be about $600 a month with a $13,000 a year deductible. That's entirely unreasonable. That's essentially another rent plus most of my income for the year, which is why I support the free market solution. I'm glad other candidates are adopting that as well. Thank you.
I absolutely support the expansion of Medicaid. We are leaving out 500,000 citizens in the state from a plan that we, as citizens, have already paid into our taxpayers' money. Not only would this help people to have coverage, to be able to afford health care and have access to health care, but it's also going to help our economy. It's going to help our rural hospitals. We must have our rural hospitals. I know personally of incidences where if we did not have Haywood County Hospital, that people would have died on 40 on the way to Mission Hospital. So it will help tremendously with individuals, and it will also help the economy.
I support Medicaid expansion. In my practice every day, I see people coming in and with their kids, and we're down to about 27% of the people that seek dental care because of the expense. We see people coming in, and these people that would be affected by Medicaid expansion, 500,000, are those people out there working in low-wage jobs. Now, they are not as well off as those people that are on welfare, and they get coverage. So why should we punish people that will try to work by not seeing that they have medical coverage?
Okay, the next question is from Mr. Littlefield. What is your position on the $2 million bond referendum that will be on the March primary ballot?
So here's my thought process on the referendum. There are a lot of projects in there. The way I kind of describe it is you've got your good Western North Carolina barbecue, but you've got some sardines packed in there with it. I would prefer if these projects would be debated and voted on and funded on their own merit rather than put all together into one package, because there is some worthwhile expenditures. Western Carolina University looks to gain $110 million for a great and much needed science building. I know Southwestern and some other local community colleges also stand to gain, as well as the infrastructure projects. My worry is that the only way for these to be funded down the road would be eventually with a tax increase. We can't say with 100% certainty that the legislatures 10 years from now will decide that, oh, well, we don't need to raise taxes for this spending that we did. We don't know if there's going to be another recession. And I think making large expenses without knowing where the next couple paychecks are coming from can be a bad decision. So that's my position. Thank you.
We absolutely need to vote for this bond issue. My only wish is that it wasn't a referendum on the ballot, that we didn't have to vote for it, that the General Assembly had just been brave enough to vote for it in the first place.
As I look at this bond issue, I see a lot of people getting a lot of money. But I think that's critical. I think our state parks need money. I think our community colleges need money. Our universities need money. And one of the key issues of getting this bond issue passed is having a lot of people on board. And if we start eliminating people that receive funding from this bond issue, it is going to not pass. So I think it is a bipartisan effort that we all should support.
And many of you have seen where the money goes to $2 billion bond referendum. I have a copy of it here. We'd be happy to share it. I'm against the bonds. Why? Real simple. At this time, we're talking about fiscal responsibility of the state, trying to have money for education, etc. This is a Christmas present project to the UNC system and some of the community colleges. The thing is, you can't throw money at something just to fix it. You've got to have some responsibility and accountability to go with that. The bond referendum, yes, it goes to some state parks, but the thing about it is, folks, remember that 24 counties in this state will decide how 100 counties are going to get the money. The money, like I said, does not always fix any and everything. This bond referendum, something that Mr. Queen did not say to you earlier, was this bond referendum, when they take and do the sewer projects, it's matching funds. And without exception, for every bond referendum that's been passed by the state, there's been a tax increase.
Thank you. Ms. Shanville, the next question is going to be to you. What should North Carolina do to get ready for the rapidly changing demographics of an aging society with greatly reduced footprints?
To me, that would be very easy. We have to look after our senior citizens. They are such a valuable resource. I know that everyone in here does, and I do, value that experience. We need to learn from them, respect that, and make sure that our seniors are taken care of. That's where I've spent my entire adult life being the voice for people who cannot be. And that's what I want to do in Raleigh. I want to take my voice, my passion, my compassion, my strength, and my determination to Raleigh, to be a voice for those who cannot speak. And we need to do that with our senior citizens, with our senior population.
I think as a state, a nation, we should be judged by the way we treat our seniors and the way we treat our children. And as I sit here tonight and look at the other candidates, I can safely tell you that I am all for taking care of the seniors, because I am a senior. In my practice, we have, in the last years, we have kind of implemented a program where we are looking at what the seniors need. And I think we have to do that in government too, because as we change the demographics, we're going to see medical care change. And I think we need to work with the private sector and government to make sure we're taking care of these folks in their senior years, those golden years. If it's golden years we're talking about.
This is probably hard for me to relate. My mom has Alzheimer's, and she's at a nursing home. I get to visit this senior care facility on a regular basis, and it's tough. Not only losing a parent to death, but you lose a parent that's still living. I can relate to your special needs child, etc. But with that being said, as seniors, it's our obligation, being the children of seniors, to take care of them wherever they may be. And sometimes it's hard, but it's a job we have to do, and we've got to take and go to those facilities. And we've got to uphold our commitment to the parent or parents by participating. And we can't leave that up just to somebody else. We got to have some skin in the game. And like I said, for me, I have her, but she's not what she once was.
I can make this solemn promise to you. I would never vote for any policy or bill that would ever harm my grandparents. Not a single one. As someone growing up in a single-family household, I can tell you that grandparents are one of the only reasons I can stand here today. I think as the demographics in North Carolina change, we need to make sure that we have attractive policies that can bring new people to this state, bring new families here so that we have taxpayers, so that we'll have the money and finances to take care of those who can't take care of themselves. As a conservative, I believe the first role of government is to protect life, and that's all stages. That's all the way until death. And I believe if we're going to protect against life at old age, we need to make sure that we have adequate mental health funding. My wife's getting her master in social work right now, and so I know all too well about how mental health funding has been under bipartisan neglect for decades. And I think if we're going to look forward, we need to address mental health funding, and we need to make sure our tax code brings more families and taxpayers into the state. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last question, I'm sure it's the sign of the week. Mr. Steen, in what ways would you be willing to work with members of the opposite political party for the betterment of North Carolina?
I think that is probably one of the crucial issues in this primary, is the ability to work across the aisle. Tomorrow you will receive an endorsement by Ken Goodman, who is chairman of the Main Street Democrats. It's the Democrats in North Carolina that have worked across the aisle. It's the Democrats that have achieved things. They are willing to work for you. They're not going to stand in the corner and go, yeah, yeah, yeah. They're going to seize the opportunity. If they are dealt two deuces, they're not going to stand up and yell at the dealer. They're going to make the best of that deal. And they're going to bring something home for the people of our district. And I am very proud of this endorsement. You'll receive that tomorrow by Mr. Ken Goodman. Thank you.
Having worked in public arena and being in the fire department, we have to work together regardless of age, sex, politics, or whatever. You know, when a house is burning down, you don't take and decide whose house is going to burn down because you can't work together. You have to work together. And I'll sum it up what Representative Grisdale said earlier. Bipartisan, taking and working together to make the decisions best for the community, for Swain County, for Jackson County, and Haywood County. So it's going to take compromise. And that was the one word I focused on in what she said. And that's what it would be.
If we want to make Raleigh listen to the people of North Carolina, we have to get them to understand that the people won't reform. Whether if it's tax reform, education reform, or how we prioritize which road projects get funded, or more importantly, which ones don't, and which ones get prioritized, then we've got to get the message out. I would be willing to work across the aisle to bring in the appropriate reforms that would help make North Carolina more representational. If that means seeing which ways we can redo the redistricting process to make the representatives more representational of their constituents, or if that means seeing how we can make sure that it's not just 3 cities calling the shots up in Raleigh. So I want to push forward for positive reforms that will make a lasting impact, not just for your lifetimes, but for my lifetimes, and make sure that we have a better North Carolina for my children. Thank you.
One of my philosophies in life is that we were put on this earth to lift one another up. And when I am elected, I will represent each and every one of you. It doesn't matter what party you belong to. I am here to represent each of you. Thank you.
And now it is time for, have you had some Okay. Now it's time for closing statements. And Mr. Steen, you get 2 minutes to sum up whatever you'd like to sum up.
It's election time. Promises, promises. I've heard it all before, and you've heard it too. I'll do this, I'll do that. However, the voters do need to know where the candidates stand, but I would like them to also emphasize qualifications, experience, and character. I will wholeheartedly support our teachers and public education. I'm a pro-jobs Democrat. I will support job growth and economic development for our state and especially for my district. I have a track record of thinking for myself. I have served as an elected official both on a county and regional basis, and I'm very proud of that record. I'm a small business owner. I know what it means to meet a payroll. I'm a small farmer. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I'm glad that's not my primary source of income. But most of all, I'm a hard worker. And with your help, we're going to make 2016 great for North Carolina again.
I'm just going to be brief. I'm asking for your vote on one stop starting March the 3rd through the 12th. If you so desire, March 15th. I'm Mike Clampett. Please remember the name. And I'll represent each and every one of you to the best of my ability. And remember this, my phone number is your phone number, just like you'd call your mom or dad. You won't be getting a stale person.
My grandparents were mill workers, were service workers. My parents worked in the healthcare industry. I grew up appreciating what they did in their sectors. I worked in the education industry. I still do, for a fraction of full-time teachers, might I add. I believe as being part of the first generation in a long time in America that is inheriting less opportunities than the parents and grandparents before them, I'm the one with the most skin in the game. And because of that, I will work hardest to make sure that my generation, your children, your grandchildren, to make sure they can help secure a bright economy for both this state, and I believe will be building the leadership for this country over the next 20 years. So I'm going to ask for your vote on March 15th. I want to ask for your support. Thank you so much.
Again, I cannot thank each of you enough for being here tonight. I hope by now that you understand that I am the only candidate that will win come November. You know, we've had a rough few years. Too often we have gone into the voting booth and voted for the lesser of two evils. Wouldn't it be nice to have something to vote for instead of vote against? This election, you will have that opportunity. This election, we get to elect refreshing leadership that will end the presidential reign of bad governance. This election, make no mistake, I am the only candidate that will win House District 118. I am the only candidate that will put values ahead of ideology. I am the only candidate that will put hard work over party politics. I am the only candidate that understands the hardships that our schools face because I work with administrators, teachers, students, and support staff every day as a school board member. And I am the only candidate that values free public education for all our children. I am the only candidate that when she talks about health care reform, she means expanding access to North Carolinians instead of leaving out 500,000 citizens. I am the only candidate that understands the hardships that working families face because I come from a working class family. I am the only candidate that understands that corporations are not people and money is not speech. And to have a true democracy, we must have campaign finance reform. I am the only candidate that understands 21st century issues because my service comes from this century. I am the only candidate not looking for the next chapter in my life because I am too busy living this chapter. Don't be fooled by any other name on the ballot. I am the only candidate that will win come November. My name is Rhonda Shanville, and with your help, I will be your next representative in Raleigh. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates, and let's all give them a round of applause.
Okay, thank y'all for coming tonight. Thank you to the Mountain Deer for being able to host this. My name is Kevin Ansley. I currently serve on the Board of Commissioners, and this is my 12th year. I'm a Haywood County native. I was born in Waynesville, the old hospital over here. I've been married to my wife house for 36 years. God blessed us with 6 children, and we live in Ironton. I have a degree in civil engineering, and I have a small business in Waynesville. It's a land surveying business, and I've been in Haywood County land surveying for 31 years. I've served on several boards. I've served on the Haywood Christian Ministry Board. I've served on my professional board, which is North Carolina Society of Surveyors. I've served in that capacity. I've also served on the Haywood County Engineering Board and the Haywood County Erosion Control Board, and several others that I don't want to bore you with. But my political philosophy is I'm an evangelical Christian. I'm pro-life, I'm pro-family, I'm pro-Second Amendment, and that's why I'm a Republican. My goal as a commissioner is to deliver low-cost, efficient government. I believe that the Board of Commissioners should work as a team and move the county in a positive direction. I'm an independent Republican, and I will always weigh the facts and look the best interest of Haywood County.
Hello, my name is Brandon Rogers, and I'm a candidate for Haywood County Commissioner, and I'm here to ask for your vote. For those of you who don't know me, I've lived in Haywood County all my life, and I'm proud to have been educated by our local schools. I have served and continue to serve in many leadership roles over the years, including production manager at Day International, part-time sheriff's deputy, deacon, youth league football and baseball coach, assistant middle school football coach, owner of my own small business, and I'm a father of 3 wonderful teenagers, and a husband for 23 years to my high school sweetheart. As a commissioner, I will turn obstacles in Haywood County into opportunities and will serve the people of this county above politics. I will make cost-effective decisions and be a voice for the people in our community after hearing their specific needs. I want to make this county sustainable so that my kids and grandkids one day will want to return here after college seeking jobs.
Hello, my name is Greg Burrow. I'm a resident of the county. I was born and raised here, born in the old hospital too, raised in Bethel. I've had my own construction business since 1993. Been doing well, recession, made it good through it. It's just getting hard for me to live in this county. It's the reason I'm running. Taxes are awful high, restrictions, government intrusion in lives. I just don't recognize my county anymore. That's the reason I'm running. Try to run for the common land and apply some common sense to what's going on in this county. Try to figure out what's really going on with our money. And I thank y'all for coming tonight.
My name's Robin Black, and I'm a CPA by trade. I had 17 years experience in government accounting and auditing. I believe I'm the only one here tonight with that kind of experience. At some point in my career, I have audited every town in Haywood County. I have audited several community action agencies like Mountain Projects, so I am very familiar with many government programs and grants through DHHS, DOE, DOJ, HUD, and DENA. I served as the chairman of the Finance Committee for the Haywood County School Boards until 2008. During my tenure, we completed flood repairs, built new Bethel Elementary School, installed air conditioning at Canton and Waynesville Middle, added 4 to 6 classrooms at North Canton, Clyde, and Riverbend. We started Haywood Early College, where our students can earn a high school diploma and a 2-year degree for free. We also became fully accredited. We did all this while increasing fund balance by around $1 million. So there are ways to work together to get things done and still save money for a rainy day.
Good evening. My name is Steve Brown, and I'm seeking the Democratic nomination for Haywood County Commissioner. I was born and raised in Haywood County to my parents, Dr. Allen and Ruth Brown. I attended Haywood County Public Schools, graduating from Tuscola High School. I received an undergraduate degree from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and I've received 2 advanced degrees from Western Carolina University. I've been married 38 years to Debbie Brown, daughter of Dr. George and Eunice Brown. I have 3 sons, 2 daughters-in-law, and 4 outstanding grandchildren. I'm currently the executive director of the Arc of Haywood County, which serves individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. I have spent the last 40 years of my life working and giving back to the community, serving my church, numerous nonprofit boards, Rotary, and the Chamber of Commerce. As your commissioner, I will give 110% to the citizens. I will take care of our county employees, keep taxes low, provide excellent education for our children, and create jobs for families that live in Haywood County.
Hello. Thank y'all for having me here tonight. My name is Terry Ramey. I was born 61 years ago right here in Haywood County Hospital. I've lived here all my life. Since then, I've worked at DACO for 17 years. Had several businesses here in the county, and I know about everybody in the county. And at some time or another, I've worked with most of the people. And I feel like I know enough people on both sides of the aisle, and I've got good friends on both sides, and I don't feel like this should be a one-sided deal. If I get in as commissioner, I will represent all the people, and I feel like I've got a strong enough voice to work with everybody, get everybody work together. I've worked on a couple of things here with the commissioners and stuff that the people that had some disagreements, and I was able to help out some, I feel like, and make things work for the good of the people and the county. And that's what my main goal would be, to get everybody to work together and do what's best for the county. My phone's on 24 hours a day. I'm available at any time. Anybody want to talk to me, any questions they want to ask me, I'm available. Thank you.
Thank you. Pass the mic on up, and Mr. Rogers can get the first question.
Easy on me.
Oh, this will be easy. The top 3 issues facing Haywood County, in your opinion.
Okay. I think that, number one, it's our economic situation that we have here in the county. I think that we need to work on job creation and create a healthy business environment here in the county, which is something that I'm strongly for, simply because I'm a small business owner myself. I think by doing that, we keep and retain people here in the county. As I said earlier, I want to keep my kids and my grandkids here in the county. And by doing that, I think by job creation and creating a healthy business environment, that's probably one of the most important things. Next is probably our education, which we've heard a lot of people spoke about tonight, which I'm strongly for. I personally had the opportunity to move job locations. It's been a good move for me to make more money, and I simply didn't do it because I want my kids to grow up here in Haywood County and attend our public school.
Mr. Burrell next.
Well, 3 main issues reflect what Randy said is jobs here in this county. Tourism is not it. We need some jobs here. People talk about education. That's fine, but without a job to go to, what good is education? Another one would be our taxes in this county. Neighborhood delineation, small business taxes. Make it to where it's affordable for business to at least exist in this county. And then wasteful spending. I think that's another issue.
I believe the 3 biggest issues facing Haywood County right now are all intertwined. It's infrastructure, education, and economic development. We're not going to get anywhere on any one of those 3 categories unless we do something on all 3. We have to invest in our infrastructure, particularly broadband. I heard today that 47% of the households in Haywood County don't have internet access. If that's true, we got to do something about that. We need to reinvest in our county. That way jobs can be created. We need to reduce government burdens. Property tax system for small businesses is unbelievable. I don't see why I need to put down how many cleaning supplies I have in my small business. It seems like a real waste of time for the little amount of money that the county gets, and it is burdensome on a small business person.
I'm going to actually combine 2 of the 3 together. Tops on my list is education. As a former school teacher at Rock Elementary School and a former administrator at the Haywood County Schools for over 10 years, I'm here to tell you tonight that I firmly believe in public education for the schools in Haywood County. Second thing I'd like to talk about is jobs. Ms. Black here mentioned one that I'm very high-speed internet. I worked over 15 years ago with a group of people in Haywood County to try to bring high-speed internet in Haywood County. There's a task force now with county commissioners, which Mark Sarles is leading. We need to find the funds to provide the infrastructure to complete the extra mile that's needed for high-speed internet for Haywood County. And the third thing we need to do is we also need to take care of the employees that work here in Haywood County. We need to provide them with the proper pay and make sure that they are given everything that they need. The third thing would be economic development, which would require us to look at possible ways to bring new industries and new jobs to Haywood County. Thank you.
My main three, one would be they're not ranked 1, 2, 3, they're all about the same. One would be the jobs. Haywood County needs a lot of jobs in here. We got things that can come in here because we got people of all ages that are living way below what they should be living, because we should have some good jobs here to help these people out. And I think if we can get some industry to come in here, and if we give them the right incentives and stuff, get them to come in here and hire lots and lots of people that would put the money right back into the county. And it might cost us something to start with to give them the incentives to make them come here, but we've got to have them. Some way or another, we've got to have them. And another thing, like the schools. I've been hearing a whole lot about the schools. We have to have high-quality schools to survive. We've got I've heard a whole lot about the central school shutting down. But one of my main concerns, if they shut the central school down and something does happen, if charter schools don't make it, or we're going to put those kids back in if we transfer it into other schools, if we get rid of that school. That's one of my main concerns. Thank you.
I would think the top 3 issues in the county at this point is jobs and economic development. We talked about today at our work session about extending our broadband capabilities, and really we need to probably redo our economic development model. That model was done in 2004. It was new then, but now it's old. We need to look at that, and also if we can expand our broadband, that's where a lot of business, good paying business, are looking for. We're looking for those services. We also need to continue, our board, I think, is very good at finding cost savings. I think it'll be an issue, and always trying to find efficiencies in the things that we do. The third thing would be we need to establish a good maintenance plan for our buildings. Our buildings, out in the weather and use, we've got to have a good maintenance plan, because if we don't have a good maintenance plan, they're going to continually go down, and if we keep our buildings, they won't last long. So those are my top 3 issues.
Thank you. Mr. Burrell, we'll start with this question. Are there line items in the Haywood County budget you think should be reduced? And if so, which ones and by how much?
Well, I can't really answer that question. I don't have a budget in front of me with the line items on. I don't know what all's out there. I'm not up to that, so I can't answer that question.
I can't address specific line items. It's been years since I looked at a large multi-million-dollar budget like that, since I was on the school board, and line item doesn't really get you there. You've got to look at broad, systematic approach to cost savings. And sometimes you have to invest a little money to save money. Like we could cut utility costs in this very courtroom right here by replacing these old windows. That would be money we could save for years to come. The parking garage that I came in tonight has got old fluorescent lights in it. They're already talking about going to LEDs. That saves money. Utilities are a line item. As always, you have to look at personnel and benefit costs, because in the county government, that is the vast majority of your costs.
It's difficult for someone who's not serving as a current commissioner to be able to look at particular line items in order to know where to make cuts in the line items. And I would defer part of that to Kevin Inslee. But I think one of the answers that we need to look at is not necessarily line items, but keeping our property tax value as low as possible. I think that's one way that we can address keeping the line items low. just to let you all know for information, that 24.4% of the budget this year went to Health and Human Services. Only 21% went to education, 20% went to public safety, and 13% went to debt service. So if that's an area that we might look at to reduce the costs and the line items within the budget, we might possibly be able to look at ways to possibly refinance or reorganize some of the loans that I know the commissioners have been very involved with, and that possibly could be some cost savings for the county.
I'm like the rest of them, without seeing something in front of us, it'd be hard to say that without being a current commissioner. But I think that there's a lot of things that could be streamlined. I went to the work session they had today, and they're doing a good job of finding things just like the lights and replacing these windows and doing several different things that are bringing the cost down on the electric bill. And it might, like Robin said, it might cost a little bit more to do all these things, but in the work session they said, once we get the money back for what it costs to fix this stuff, then we start saving in. That's what she was talking about, sort of like some of the things you have to put money out ahead to save money in the long run. But we've got to have, most of the stuff that I can think of has got to be, we've got to keep the employee pay where we keep our employees, where we train employees. We've been losing them right and left. We've got to be able to keep all these employees and stuff and have the best in every department we can. Thank you.
Every budget year, we look at trying to find savings in our budget, and then we try to find cost savings in our budget. I'll give you a couple of examples that we've done in the past. When we moved our health department to DSS to the old Walmart, we wanted to combine those, and we had to get permission from the state to do that because only Mecklenburg and Wake County could do that. So we asked Jim Davis to pass a bill, and he did, and we were able to combine those services, and that saves some of the office help that we have there, so and that's been able to reduce the budget a little bit. Another thing that we did was we were having to look at adding on more jail space, and we partnered with Higley Pathway Center, and they were able to deliver two things: take care of the homeless need, and also have a program for recidivism for our jail. And by doing that and using those programs, and Sheriff Christopher's been great at that. We've been able to save the taxpayers and put off $1 million is what it would cost to add that jail space. So we've been able to do that. So we look at that every year.
I would definitely like to look at each line item that is on the budget, see what's needed and what's not. I think it's important to prioritize, especially when we've only got a limited amount of money. Unfortunately, Haywood County can't print their own money. So we've got to be prestigious in the way that we go about budgeting and prioritizing that. I think not everything is a Category 1 project, so we need to look and prioritize and put things in order. So I definitely think that it's important to do that. I do it in my own business. Each year I go back, I look at my budget when I'm trying to adjust, and I look to see what's important and what's not, and where to spend my money. So it's most definitely important.
Thank you. Mrs. Black's going to start the next question. In your opinion, what are the most valuable traits a county commissioner should possess, and do you have them?
I will start with honesty. The days of good old boy politics in the back room are over. Everything that county commissioners do need to be up front, where everybody can understand the issues, voice their opinion, and then we need to do what's in the best interest of the county as a whole. I can promise you there'll be no smoke and mirrors if I'm elected. I can only be honest, I can only do what I think's right, and I think I have both those qualities.
The first trait that I possess that makes me an excellent candidate for county commissioner is that I'm a Christian. And I think everything we do needs to put that first and to keep that at the forefront of what we do. There's many of y'all in this room tonight that I've worked with for many years on different nonprofit boards. I very rarely, probably only once in my life, I've ever met anybody that I don't like. I'm easy to get along with. I'm able to build consensus, to work with different people in the community, whether they may be rich, whether they may be poor. For example, I used to own a hardware store for 25 years. Every person that walked in that door million in their pocket. And that's an important trait that people need in order to be a county commissioner.
I think my best quality would be to get along with different people. I've got friends in every party and whatever. And I think I can make everybody, or not make everybody, I can talk everybody into getting along and work together. And when have issues come up, if there's a problem, anybody can come talk to me at any time. I've always been in the towing business for 30-some years. My phone rings 24 hours a day, and it don't bother me a bit for anybody to call me at any time. And if they need me to check into something, I will check into it. And I think I've got the qualities where I've got a strong enough voice where I can help people out about any situation and work with commissioners and make it to where we can all come out with the best results.
A good commissioner listens to the public. On every issue, there's two sides to every issue. And I think you need to be able to listen. You need to be able to use logic and reason and weigh out the facts. And then I think you need to be transparent. I think our board has been transparent. We passed transparent rules early in the last decade that I think is going to help the public trust the county commissioners. And I also think you need to be a team member. You know, this board is 5 men, just like a basketball team. If you got somebody throwing the ball out of bounds and throwing the ball all day all the time, you're not going to get anything done, and you're not going to win. And so we all need to work together. I think I can work together, and I have proven I work together with the other commissioners.
I probably agree with a lot of things that's been said. First of all, I am a Christian, and being a Christian, I think it's important. God wants us to get along with all people and to work with them. And I think there's not a person in this room who's sitting here tonight that don't want Haywood County to move forward. And that's why I am here tonight. I also have a lot of basic common sense knowledge, which I believe goes a long way. I also feel that I'll be a good steward of our budget and rank our priorities. And I will watch every dollar that's spent, and I'll be responsible for it. I will run the county like I do my own business, as I mentioned before. Most importantly, I'll be a voice for you. No matter who you are, Republican, Democrat, Independent, no matter who you are, I'll be a voice for you, and I'll always be accessible. As others have said, you can contact me at any time, and I'll always be that voice for you.
Two traits. Well, I'm a Christian, above all, and integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody else is looking, you know, and being honest with people. I get along well with people. Some people, yeah, you know, but I'll debate them, I'll talk to them, whatever, but there's no skin off my back if we can't get along. But, well, I've lost my train of thought on that, but, yeah, I do have those two traits, integrity and be able to get along with people.
Mr. Brown, you need to start the next question. Given the interest that's been expressed in jobs here at this table tonight, Haywood County spends about $225,000 annually on economic development efforts. Should we be spending more money, or should we be doing other things to bring jobs in?
I think Kevin mentioned earlier that there's been some discussion about remodeling or retooling the way that the EDC offices run in Haywood County. Probably my first impression would be that with the lack of jobs in Haywood County, that we definitely need to spend a minimum of $225,000 in order to attract new businesses to Haywood County. We also need to look at the model that they mentioned in order to consider changing how that is done. If we're going to get new jobs into Haywood County, we're going to have building sites. We're going to have structures, which we have an industrial park. I would like to look at possibly another industrial park if that's a feasibility. I also think that we might consider working closer with the chamber, and I know that's part of the Chamber of Commerce now, working closer with them. But ultimately, I think that in order to attract new jobs, we're going to have to advertise. We're going to have people out there working for us on a day-to-day basis in order to bring new jobs to Haywood County.
I agree with Steve on a lot of that. I went to the workshop we had today, and they had some real good ideas. I think they were talking about revamping the way we go out and recruit people and give them more incentives and trying to work with these big companies and stuff to bring them here so we'd have jobs. And I agree with that if we need to spend a little more on that to get the jobs in here, we've got to have the jobs, whatever it takes. And I know we haven't got the money to spend a whole lot more, but if there's other things that we can streamline some to get jobs in here, I would be for it all the way, because we've got to have some development in here, or some industry in here, because the people are leaving out of Haywood County as fast as they and get out of working age people. They're leaving out fast. And we've got to have something for them to do in here, whether it's teaching jobs, whether it's industry jobs like NACO had before, or ComEd's got over there. We've got to have a lot of places for our kids to work, or they're not going to be able to stay in Haywood County.
Yes, we did talk at our work session today about expanding our EDC, thinking of new ideas. To give you an example, Montgomery County spent $29.7 million on the economic development program, and they were hoping to get a $500 million investment. I think it's $1 billion. I believe that was the number. And it also translated to 6,000 jobs in Buckingham County. Here, Houston County spends $11 million. We spend $250,000. That's about 53rd of the state. So we're not in the middle, but we're struggling trying to figure out when we can come up with more money to spend on this. I think one big thing to get our industry going is we need to have water and sewer and internet available. And as our population gets older, I think we're looking at, and we are the second oldest county in the state. I don't know if you all know that or not, but we are. And we need to focus on what kind of industries we can bring in here that can help that. And I believe there will be a lot of jobs in the medical field. So we just have to figure, what those jobs are yet. So we're working on it.
I definitely would like to see us spend some more money in that area. As we've done talk and discuss, this is probably our biggest single issue that we have in the county. What I would like to do is check with other counties, check with other states to see what they're doing, see what kind of ideas they've got, and see how we compare. But I think that I personally would definitely like to spend more money in this area.
Spending more money, that would be fine if we find out where it comes from besides the taxes and people. We need business and industries here to create jobs. But small businesses are fine too. They hire, how many do you hire? How many do you employ? About 9, small businesses. But when they're taxed on small businesses, it's looked at as a privilege tax from the county. So they're basically allowing Brandon to have his company or me have my company or Robin have hers. So, it's not the government's position to allow us to have anything. And I understand it takes taxes to run a government, but I feel like throwing money at it is probably not the issue. It's going to take money to get advertisements in or buy some land. Of course, we got land down on Big Creek. We can make a park out of it, or an industrial park out of it. We got one in Kenton over here. I don't know how many more lots are available than it, or what would come. But small business is a good thing to have in this county. But taxes on small business hurts. Now, you can give tax breaks to larger industries that can afford to come in here and take it. But the small business, I think, would be good in this county. You look for tourism, small business goes good for tourism. It just depends on what they're doing. We've got some breweries around here, down here on Frog Level, whether it be something to do with broadband. People can come in here, work from home, or have a little shop. I think it'd be good.
Don't wave your red flag. We've talked a lot about the same issues as far as economic development tonight. They talked about expanding water and sewer. We've talked about predetermining sites where possible businesses could go. We've talked about expanding broadband. But a couple issues I haven't heard talked about is expanding recreational opportunities. There's a whole vast wonderland out here that we can put a little money in and charge fees for use. Mountain biking, hiking, all these people are spending thousands of dollars to come to an area like ours and do these type of activities. I've been out west. These people are making money hand over fist on elk. Okay? We need to look at our recreational opportunities, and I would like to see small business incubators. Everybody's talking tonight about these large businesses, getting them in hundreds of jobs. A small business incubator, many businesses can bring in the same number of jobs.
Thank you. Mr. Brady, you can set the next question. Hayward County now ranks 24th out of 115 districts in North Carolina on local education spending. Should the county increase funding for education, given the shortfall we've all been hearing about lately in our public schools?
Well, as everybody knows, we got to have quality education. The way I look at it is you find the money somewhere, we need to put every penny we can into education to get the best teachers, the best schools. That's been one of my main things. I've got a bunch of kids, so I've been through school for years and years here with kids, and I've always thought we had real good schools, but I think now we're dropping back way from where we need to be. I think we should have the best schools around that. We have to hunt the money some way to get the money to do that. I think we should have to where we can keep quality teachers that we need, and like I say, the best schools for our kids. Because if our kids don't have a good education, they're not going to be able to get jobs. They're not going to, that's where it starts at. Education is where it actually starts at, and if we don't get with a real good education, we're in trouble.
I think we're already funding the schools at a high level at 24th, and I think last year we were 21st. I'm not sure where 24 came from, but so we're doing a pretty good job at doing that. That's really the school board. That's kind of their job. We have the funding formula, which has worked really well. I think the school system's been happy with that, but it's based on per pupil spending. And their pupils have gone down. And it's for a number of reasons. It's the economy, because the families left their area to find jobs. And we did have a charter school open, but charter schools are legal. They're legal in the state. So that's another opportunity for a parent to have a classical education. Some parents want to choose that, and that charter school offers that. So I think we're doing, I'm not on the school board, but I think they need to try to find ways to raise their ADM numbers.
One thing I want to do is I want to go back to the last question. I think politicians want to do that, right? But one thing I want to tell you guys right quick is I did say I was for spending just as I am on education, but I don't think you just spend the money. After I handed the mic over just a few minutes ago, I realized what I said. I am for spending the money. I'm not going to spend more money than what we currently have. I want to prioritize, as I mentioned, and look at the budget line item by line item. And I want to spend more money on creating jobs, keeping businesses here, bringing businesses in. And I also want to support our education. Our education is important. I'm a big supporter of our schools here. Like I said, I attended our local schools here. My kids are going to school here. And I think it's important. What I would say is that I think we need to check into where some of our money is currently going and being spent, like from the lottery, drug seizures, and so forth. So I know that may be on a different level, but that's something I'm interested in, seeing where that money's being spent.
Well, on education, as Kevin said here, it's up to the school board. We can forward in the right direction, see what things are happening. Being commissioner, but as far as the education of the children, it comes back to the teachers, giving the power back to the teachers and to the parents. Nowadays kids can just run all over the teachers, and and it's not basically giving them the kids. You've got to make the kids earn, make them feel their self-worth, and so I think it's in the teachers learning how to teach again. Having some good teachers. And, the money situation, like I said, I'm not involved with it. I don't know nothing, but being a county commissioner, I'll definitely take a look and see what's going on, see what we can do. I don't believe in just spending and throwing money at things. I'd like to look at it and see what's really going on and why.
I served on the county school board for 4 years up until 2008. And at the county level, the only funding for the schools that we have control of is our local budget. Okay? And it's based on ADM numbers. I support the current spending formula because it stops the every year fight. It's based on the number of students you get, and you get that amount of money. What the county school board does with that money is up to their leadership. I don't believe in other governments, whether it be federal, forcing the state to do something, or state forcing the county to do something, or commissioners forcing the school board to do something. That said, I know every one of those people on that board, and I've worked with most of them. They have not mismanaged the school system. This problem was talked about back in 2008 when I was on the board. And we knew then, if there was a perfect storm that happened, we may have to close some smaller community schools. It's not the only county in this state that's facing this.
I want to commend the county commissioners for reappropriating the 3-year funding formula. I believe those are 3 more years. I think it's an excellent way for the school system to understand the amount of money that the county commissioners are going to be able to appropriate each year. Over $15 million was given to the school system this year. Another thing that the county commissioners have also done an excellent job on, and I think it's important we continue this, is that they have made a strong commitment to public education. They've made a strong commitment to the schools in Haywood County, and they've done an excellent job. If we create more jobs in Haywood County, people move to Haywood County, they have children, those children go to public schools, it'll increase our ADM, and we'll be able to have more funding for the schools. And you can rest assured that I will definitely fight for public education in Haywood County. Do you know that the Haywood County schools are ranked in the top 15% of the state? They also have one of the top elementary schools in the nation, Riverbend Elementary. We will continue this commitment, but we're not going to solve the problem. We'll have to leave no stone unturned, and we need to provide whatever means we can to help the school system.
Commissioner Ensley is the next question. Okay, the next question is it time to look at land use planning in Haywood? If so, how would you approach the issue?
Well, we're approaching it a little bit. We're thinking, we're looking at maybe having a study done to see if people's attitudes have changed. Mountain people are real independent, and I was raised in the mountains, and I'm not a real big comprehensive land use planning at all. I believe it's a property rights issue, but there's a flip side of that. There's a property rights issue for the person that's got something next to them that they don't want, they shouldn't be there. So we got to kind of weigh that out. So I think we're going to look at that. We're kind of taking a look at it. I prefer personally the piecemeal approach to the issues, and that's what we've got now. In other words, we develop ordinances as issues come along, and that might be a good way to do it, but I don't really believe in a one-size-fits-all way to restrict people's property, if you will. I think, if somebody has a rural piece of property and they want to put a mobile home on it, and they're out there, they should be able to do that. And that's all they're saying about it. You got the big race on? Yeah, she's so friendly, but she don't do that. And she starts waving. Yeah, she's got some.
I would agree with what Kevin said, and I think our current commissioners are doing a good job as far as taking this to the people and possibly letting the people decide. I think that any time you have a situation come up like this with land use or zoning or regulations, that you let you guys decide that. I can sit up here and give you my opinion all day long. I'm not for it as much because I believe if you own the property, you're paying taxes on it, you should be able to do what you want for the most part. As Kevin said, on the flip side, there's a flip side to that. There's things that I wouldn't want inside my house either. So I think that it's important that we take it to a vote, referendum, and let the people decide. And by doing that, I think it's important that we give you guys all the information we can. Have studies done, as I said before, check with surrounding counties to see what they do, and I think give all that information to you guys, and then once again let you decide.
Well, that's a tough situation for me, the zone. Federal told me this morning, anybody that says they should have no zoning should have to live beside a pig farm, and it's a tough situation. The government has nothing control over our properties right now. What you can build, where you can build. Now you get a permit for a well, septic, and all that stuff. They're just telling you everything. So it's a tough situation for me. And I don't really know what I would do. I would rather let the people, but that's putting it off on the people. You would be putting us into leadership, but I definitely love to hear some voices on it. That is a touchy situation, either for us or for the community. You know, I just wouldn't want, you give the government a little bit of power, and then they just keep taking. And I don't sound anti-government, but I really am, because they've not been. I just don't recognize my country anymore. I don't recognize my community, my county, and things are gone. We need more God in everything. A little bit more forgiveness, and we can go from there.
I'm against zoning or broad land use plan, period. I believe we can handle this at the local level with specific permitting and specific individual ordinances. I don't think that the government at any level, unless there is a clear and absolutely known public safety or health issue, should tell anybody what they can and can't do with their property. If you don't like living next to a pig farm, move. I run a farm basically on 3 sides by town limits. It was a farm when I bought it. It's a farm now. My new neighbors, a couple of them, don't like it. They don't like my 4 little goats. They can move. Okay? It's very clean. It's not unsanitary, and it's my rights.
Obviously, land use planning has been a pretty heated topic in Haywood County over the last 40 or 50 years. And I think the consensus from the citizens of Haywood County is that they do not want to have land use and zoning. As a landowner in Haywood County, I'm also a little bit nervous about land use planning and zoning in Haywood County. But let's also remember that the local towns, the state and federal government have got certain ordinances in place to protect certain areas in the town. One thing I will disagree with Robin on is that one of the issues that's come up in front of the county commissioners is about shooting ranges. As the current ordinances stand now, Mr. Barr has every right in the world to build a shooting range on his property. I personally use outdoor guns and shoot in my backyard, and I have no issue with people being able to use guns on their private property. If somebody were to build a commercial shooting range, outdoor shooting range, let's use for an example Oak Park. If somebody were to build one in Oak Park, would you be in favor of it? I think the county commissioners are going to have to consider some ordinances that might protect certain situations that arise in the county.
And myself, I'm against it. I'm not completely against it. I'm against it enough to where I think people ought to be able to do what they want to with their own land as long as they're not disturbing somebody else. But I'm not for zoning. But as far as, I'll have to disagree with Steve on one thing right there about the town has ordinances about shooting guns inside the city limits and stuff. But on a farm out like that, I believe people should be able to do, shoot as long as they're doing it safely and not harming anybody around it. But I'm not for complete zoning like that. I've seen it the last several years. They came up with some different plans that they tried, like the nuisance ordinance that they tried at that time, and there was a lot of people against it. I mean, we pulled people together, got it all worked out, and everything worked out good. But that's a little different than it would be if it was set in stone in a zone. And I think that we've got plenty of laws and stuff in place to take care of most of the dangerous stuff. Thank you.
One last question, because we're kind of running out of time, and I only rented this room for 2 hours. And it's going to go to Mr. Rogers. What ideas do you have that would improve our county?
Well, I would like to go back to some things that I've already mentioned before. And of course, it goes back to job creation. Imagine that, I hadn't said that, but I have. But I think that's the single biggest issue, as I've said before, and that would be one of the big ideas that I have. Again, is keeping our young people here. I learned, I think it was this week, that we have over 2,800 houses sale here in Haywood County. And I don't know why the reason, it's people that want to move off or what it is, but I want people to want to stay here, and I want to do whatever is possible from a commissioner standpoint to keep those people here. Because the more people we have here in the county, of course, the more taxes that we bring in. As Steve mentioned earlier, it brings our education up and does away with the problem we have there.
Well, Bellevue County, get rid of all the incumbents we have in office right now, back in Bellevue County. But jobs would help. Jobs would really help. Lower our taxes where people can stand, have a little bit more extra money to spend. Taxes is the key. Our taxes have been raised 3 times due to recession. People's trying to work with me and say, well, the tax rate's not been increased. I'm not talking about tax rate. The money that's been paid from the people to the county has increased 3 times. Getting ready for next year. And, of course, it raised this year, too, so it might be 4 times since this recession. But anyhow, one way to better this county is to vote out the incumbents throughout.
I think Haywood County is a pretty darn good county, as it is. I would like to see it improve like everybody else. And while I may not have specific ideas on how to improve it, I have broad general ideas. And I've talked about them all tonight. Infrastructure, education, recreation, individual people's rights. Sometimes I think we get to listen to just a few people instead of a lot of the silent majority of people out there that are just trying to work 8 to 5, 5 days a week or 6 days a week and raise a family. They don't have a lot of time to be politically active or write letters to the editor, but they do have time to talk to their friends and neighbors and other people in the community and let them know how in general their life's going. And if you listen to those people and you try to help them, our county will be better for it. Even if it's just serving a meal once a year at a homeless shelter, making a small contribution to United Way, every little part improves the county.
Thank you. Robin, I agree with you 100% on that. I think that's one area that we can continue to improve in Haywood County is involving the faith-based community to get involved in the projects and things that are going on in Haywood County. We've developed some wonderful relationships between the churches and the schools and the churches in the county, and I think it's an important thing that we try to continue to work with those groups to try to find ways to provide funding for education, to find funding for projects that are going on in our county. I think it'd be very important to continue that. The second thing is obviously job creation, which we've all talked about tonight. One minor issue that might help in the short term is that I understand they're getting ready to have a bond referendum in the state of North Carolina to bring over $2 million to the community college, and I am 100% in full support of that bond referendum. And it also would bring $110 million to Western Carolina. So that's one way we might be able to filter some of those dollars back to Haywood County. The last thing would obviously be recreation, which Robin touched on. We have a park in Jonathan Valley that I know there's some state and federal funds, park funds that may be available. I think we need to develop that area in order to bring more people from outside the community in to spend money in Haywood County.
I agree with Steve on what he said too. So one of the things that I like to hit on is with everybody in the county working together. We've got some issues, divide the people up. I think I can get these people to work together and all the negative energy that we've been using on, arguing. Some people will be against some stuff and the commissioners will be on one side and everybody's mad at each other. I think that one thing will be for us all to work together and use all that negative energy to be the better of the county. And we can all get involved in stuff like the recreation or like the working to find the jobs, bringing industry in here. Everybody, the more people we got talking, the better ideas we can get. If we can get ideas from everybody and everybody thinking, there might be somebody out here industry out here looking for a place to come and stuff. If everybody would work together, I believe we can make it a whole lot better for the people. Thank you.
I believe we live in a great county. I know I'm a land surveyor, and a lot of people, when they move here, they ask for surveys, and they're new to the area, but they've been here before, and it's all they can do to get here, and they love staying here. a lot of times they'll have me do a survey, and maybe they're not quite here yet, and they're like, I wish I could be there today, I wish I could come up. So we have a great county that we can offer people, and I would like to see us build partnerships, private, non-profit partnerships. Like Steve was talking about, extend some of our faith-based programs. I think those are great programs that work. Also, I'd like to see us expand more recreation and hiking trails. Hiking trails are a very big draw for our area. You know, we had a lady get lost here a while back, and she came all the way from somewhere, Johnson City, to our area. So I'd like to see us expand hiking trails. And I know some areas where we can possibly do that. I know they've been talking with the federal government about doing some of that.
Thank you. And now we're ready for closing statements. And Mr. Burrow can start. 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
2 minutes.
I'll take it. Well, the reason I'm running, I come here tonight, I'm pretty sad about things. I'm just sad about the way this county is, the way I feel this county. I feel very oppressed. And I don't really know why. It's mainly I'm very independent, and I was raised independent. I was raised that I make myself I can make anything of myself I want to make of myself. Very hard working. Try to be honest with people. And I feel like this county needs some common sense in it because, like I said, integrity is doing the right thing even when nobody's looking. And the people that's in charge now, if nobody's looking, they're going to do whatever they want to better themselves. And I don't know the whole truths, and you won't know the truth until you're in there, but I can guarantee you if I get in, everybody's going to know what's going on. I'm not going to sit back and just say, well, we can do this, we do that, and people live smart stuff. I want people to know what's really going on in this county because something ain't right. When I gut tell them something ain't right, it's usually right. And I appreciate everybody's vote. I've got one thing to say too. I don't care what affiliation you are, vote for somebody new in. Let's start a new fresh this year. I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican. And then after that, let's do it again because 2 years of somebody's ideas is all they've got, and the rest of it's somebody else's ideas. Same with me too. 1 term is all I'd spend. All it all won't spend. And I'd let somebody else get in there and have a fresh idea. But anyhow, I appreciate you having me here and being patient with me. I'm going to pass the mic on.
I began tonight giving you my qualifications. Now I'd like to share my beliefs. I'm a fiscal conservative. Every dollar should be scrutinized before it's spent, because after all, part of that dollar is mine. I believe in Second Amendment rights. I'm a proud gun owner, and I'm a shooting enthusiast, but I do it safely and responsibly, and there's a time and a place for those kind of activities. I believe in less government, not more. I support individual rights and liberties, as well as the rights of local municipalities to self-govern without interference from the state or federal government. My grandfather, who served as Haywood County Commissioner, and my father, who served as Vice Chair on the Buncombe County School Board, taught me a lot. But one idea has always stood out, and it came from a pretty famous conservative Democrat. And it went a little like this. Ask not what you can do. Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. All I'm trying to do is offer my services to the voters and the citizens of Haywood County. And I believe I can provide a real service to my county. I believe I can make a difference. I can provide a service that nobody else probably up here tonight can provide. Now we've got a lot of small business owners, a lot of really good men up here. Men. Women just see things different. And it's not that I've got anything against men. I love them. I'm married to one. I've got a son. He's here tonight. It's not a battle. But half the voters in Haywood County are women. And we just flat look at things different. Mars and Venus has got nothing on a good Haywood County man and woman today. I appreciate everybody coming tonight. I appreciate people taking their time to watch us on video and on TV. And I would greatly appreciate any support and backing that you guys could give me.
Even though I'm a male, my wife of 38 years has made most of the decisions for me during that time. So I'm very comfortable being around ladies and very comfortable in having my lovely wife tell me what to do on a regular basis. It's the key to a successful marriage right now. I want to first start off by thanking Vicki Hyatt and the Mountaineer for hosting the forum tonight. I also want to thank the other candidates that are here who are running for county commissioner. You need to be applauded for being willing to get involved in the community. I want to give you a few things that I was not able to talk about the reasons why I feel like I'm the best candidate for county commissioners. For over 20 years, I ran a small hardware store. I had to make hard financial decisions every day, and I understand what it is to run a successful small business. I worked as the director of the Haywood County Schools Foundation for over 10 years. My job was to raise money for the public schools. It was not in the normal budget. The 10 years I was there, we increased the assets from $300,000 to over $1.5 million, and we provided over $2 million in scholarships to high school seniors and classroom teachers. Currently, I'm the executive director of the Arc of Haywood County. We have 40 employees with almost a $2 million budget. Each and every day when I wake up, I have to make decisions that affect the lives of 40 individuals who we take care of 24 hours a day. My three top focuses for this election are education, which we've talked a lot about, and jobs. But the third one I'd like to talk about is about leadership and building consensus. With my 40 years of experience working as a small business owner, I think I'm the oldest candidate sitting here tonight, so I think that would give me most years of experience. But I'm very familiar with serving and directing nonprofit boards. I'm used to working for a common cause and building a strong community. On Tuesday, March 15th, I'm asking for your vote, and together we will continue the great tradition of making Haywood County a place where Steve Brown and 59,000 people call home.
I'd like to thank everybody for having us out here tonight and listen to us, listen to all our concerns and questions. But my main thing is I deal with a lot of people in the business I'm in. I took people in from everywhere when they come in here, and everybody loves Haywood County. That's all they talk about is Haywood County, and that's my main goal is to make it where even more people talk about Haywood County, want to move here and pay taxes here. But we also, like I say, we have to have jobs and stuff, and I'm willing to work with anybody, everybody on all that stuff to make it where we have tourism and industry, and I'd like to state the jobs in the school is one of the main priorities we got to have here. People won't move here if we don't have the best schools and the best hospitals and everything that they need in life. And I believe I can work with the people and the commissioners to accomplish that goal.
I do want to thank the Mountaineer for having this for Vicki and Jonathan for y'all doing this. It's been a privilege to serve my county, which is the greatest county in the state, as a commissioner for 12 years. Some of our latest accomplishments in our board have been to pass 6 budgets from 2009 to 2014 that were below the 2008 budget level. Our debt today is less than it was in 2008. Today's the 2015 tax rate is the 25th lowest in the state. That means 75 counties pay a higher rate. Our school, the tax rate in 2002 was 0.61, and today is 0.5661, which is 7% lower. Our school funding is 24th out of 115 districts, and our kids test at 15 out of those 115 districts. We were able to sell our hospital to do platform to deliver health care services, and our fund balance has grown from 7% in 2008 to 24% today. We partnered with Haywood Pathway Center to help with the homeless and to reduce the recidivism rate from our jails. Through the efforts of Sheriff Christopher and this facility, our jail, which was at full capacity, now has a 40-bed annex that is empty at times. We are helping people and saving $1 million taxpayers dollars by not having to build jail space. Faith-based programs work. We've done all this and more during what's been termed as the Great Recession. As Commissioner, I'm committed to working with our great staff to continue these cost-saving efforts. This takes a team effort, and I would be remiss if I did not thank our Chairman, Mark Swanger, for his leadership. It has been an honor to serve with him. I will be grateful for your vote to continue as County Commissioner and keep Haywood County moving in a positive direction. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Mountaineer, for allowing us to come speak tonight. This is all new to me, and I appreciate the privilege to be able to come. First of all, I want you to know that I love this county. I love the people here in this county and all the citizens, and I love these mountains. I've been fortunate enough to travel quite a few places. I've been to Scotland and several different states, been to England, France, and it seems like no matter where I go, I always can't wait to get back home to these mountains. I want you to know that if I am elected, I can work with any man that is elected that's going to sit on this county board. Don't matter if they're Republican, Democrat, whoever they are, I believe in working as a team and trying to move this county forward. I've been considered running for commissioner for some time now. After a lot of prior consideration, I feel that I could be an asset to the county board. First of all, I'll always tell you the truth. I will always try to represent the citizens of Haywood County. I will promise to always listen and be accessible on any and all issues. I'm sure that at times you will disagree with me, and that's when I want to listen to you the most, to make sure that we're doing the right thing. Second, you'll be able to hold me accountable for every tax dollar that I spend. I know that every dollar that is taken from you means less money to spend on raising your own family, buying your kids clothes, or even putting food on the table. Third, I will always do what is right. Regardless of the political consequences, I know at times I will feel pressure to go along with the crowd or to keep my mouth shut, but I will refuse to do so. I believe in standing up for what is right, and I will always do the right thing. Finally, I promise to give more than I get. I am a committed person. I've always taught my children, if you're going to do something, you need to give 100%. I'm willing to make whatever sacrifices necessary to keep Haywood County moving forward. So don't forget Raymond Rogers on March 15th. Thank you.
Thank you all. One other comment. Charles Boyd, a Democratic commissioner candidate, was unable to make it tonight. So we're going to have, you can choose two from every party to go forward. Democrats will vote for Democrats, Republicans will vote for Republicans, and independents can choose one party or the other, but not both. So thank you all. I appreciate you're here, and thank you all for